They said no one who entered the river at night ever returned, but Adaeze did. And when she came back, her eyes were not the same. Under the red moon, she faced the spirits that cursed her bloodline, her stepmother's shadow, her mother's secret, her own reflection. But forgiveness has a price, and the river always collects its due. When the water called her name, she didn't just fight for her life. She fought to break a curse that had swallowed generations. What Adaeze saw beneath that river will make your heart tremble and your soul believe in mercy again. This is the tale of the girl the river could not take, the daughter of the night stream. They said the wind in Umuaka village never blew without a message. It carried secrets, whispers from the dead, warnings from the unseen. On some nights, when the moon stood like a white eye over the forest, even the bravest hunters refused to leave their huts. But that night, one person did. 16-year-old Adaeze, daughter of a poor widow, sat outside their mud hut, her bare feet buried in the cool earth. Her eyes followed the dancing shadows from the flickering fire. Her stepmother's voice soon sliced through the calm like a knife. "Adaeze, you lazy child, go to the stream and fetch water before I lose my temper." Adaeze froze. Her heart skipped. The stream, Ekimiri, the forbidden river, was known as the dwelling place of the night spirits. No villager fetched water after sunset, not even the warriors. "Mama, please," Adaeze whispered, "the night is deep." "Are you questioning me?" the woman barked. "Your mates are out working while you sit like a snail." Inside the hut, her mother's old mat lay empty. Her mother had fallen sick months ago, her body weak, her words fading. Adaeze knew disobedience would only bring more pain to her mother's frail heart. With trembling hands, she picked up her calabash, lit the small oil lamp, and stepped into the night. The crickets grew silent as if watching. The wind rose again, whispering her name through the leaves. "Adaeze, Adaeze." Her knees weakened. The path to the stream was narrow, swallowed by trees. Still, she walked on. But as she reached the first bend, she heard it, soft footsteps behind her. She turned quickly. No one was there. Yet the footsteps continued. From the darkness, something moved. Who or what was following Adaeze into the forbidden night?
The night was heavy, and the moon hung low like a silent witness. Adaeze's lamp flickered, throwing long dancing shadows across the narrow path. The air smelled of damp earth and secrets. Again she heard the footsteps, light, steady, matching her pace. She turned sharply, raising the lamp high, her breath trembling. "Who's there?" she whispered. Only the wind answered. The trees rustled softly, as if mocking her fear. She walked faster. Her bare feet brushed the cold dust of the forest path. Every sound, the croak of frogs, the hoot of an owl, the creak of bamboo, made her heart pound harder. Then came a whisper, close to her ear. "Adaeze." She spun around. The lamp nearly fell from her hand. Still no one was there. The darkness thickened around her like smoke. She clutched her calabash tighter. "It's only the wind," she told herself. "Only the wind." But deep down, she knew this was no ordinary wind. She reached the place where the tall trees bowed, forming a dark archway, the entrance to Ekimiri, the sacred stream. Villagers said the spirits guarded it, especially at night. Her body trembled. The voice of her dying mother echoed in her memory. "Child, never go near the stream when the moon is full. That is when the veil is thinnest." Yet here she was, standing before the glowing path that led to it. Adaeze knelt to refill her courage with a deep breath. She stepped forward. The moment her foot touched the wet sand, the wind died completely. The forest fell silent. Then, plop, a single drop of water fell onto her shoulder from nowhere. She looked up. The stream was glowing. What waited for Adaeze in that glowing water? A spirit or something far darker?
The stream shimmered like liquid silver beneath the moonlight. Adaeze's eyes widened. The glow was soft at first, then brighter, as if the water itself was alive. The trees bowed lower, their branches trembling though no wind blew. Her breath came in shaky gasps. Every instinct screamed, "Run!" but her legs refused. Something held her there, a strange calm wrapped in terror. Then the surface of the stream rippled. Slowly, something rose from the glowing water. At first, it looked like mist. Then it took form, the form of a woman. She was tall and graceful, her skin glistening like wet marble. Her long hair flowed like dark smoke, and her eyes shone gold, glowing brighter than the moon. Around her neck hung cowries that jingled softly with the water's rhythm. Adaeze fell to her knees, trembling. Who are you?" she stammered. The figure smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "I am Mommy Nyuanyi, the keeper of this stream. No mortal dares fetch my water at night. Why have you disturbed my peace, child of man?" Adaeze's lips quivered. "My mother, she is sick. My stepmother sent me. I meant no harm." The spirit circled her slowly, her eyes deep with mystery. "Your heart speaks truth, but those who sent you here wish you evil." Adaeze looked up in confusion. "Evil? What do you mean?" "Return home," the spirit said softly, "and watch the moon tomorrow night. The truth will reveal itself." She reached out and touched Adaeze's forehead. Instantly, Adaeze's body went numb. Her lamp fell. The glow of the stream swallowed her vision. Then everything went dark. When Adaeze opens her eyes, will she still be alive or in the spirit world? The sound of birds woke her. Adaeze's eyelids fluttered open to the first light of dawn. She was lying beside the stream, her calabash filled to the brim with clear, shining water. The lamp was gone, yet the air around her carried a soft scent, like rain and perfume. She sat up slowly, confusion clouding her mind. Her clothes were damp, but she was alive. She touched her forehead. It felt warm, almost burning where the spirit had laid her hand. "Was it all a dream?" she whispered. But when she looked into the stream, she gasped. The reflection that stared back at her wasn't quite her own. Her eyes glowed faintly, gold like the spirit's. Fear gripped her. She grabbed the calabash and ran. Back in the village, the roosters were crowing and smoke rose from kitchen fires. Her stepmother was outside, her arms folded, eyes sharp as blades. "So, you returned," the woman said coldly. "Did the spirits not swallow you?" Adaeze ignored her. She hurried inside and gave the water to her sick mother. The moment her mother drank, her breathing eased and her color returned slightly. Adaeze smiled through tears. That night, the spirit's words echoed in her mind. "Watch the moon tomorrow night." So she waited. When darkness fell again, Adaeze stepped outside. The sky was clear, but the moon was red, deep crimson like blood. The villagers gathered in fear. Children cried. The elders whispered that such a moon meant judgment. And then something strange happened. Her stepmother began to cough violently. Her hands shook. Her shadow on the ground started moving, even though she stood still. What dark secret hides behind the stepmother's trembling shadow? The villagers gasped as the stepmother's shadow twisted on the ground, stretching and writhing like a living snake. The red moon above grew brighter, bathing everyone in a bloody light. "It's a curse!" someone shouted. "The gods are angry!" another cried. Adaeze stepped back, clutching her chest. Her stepmother's eyes darted wildly. Sweat poured down her face, though the night was cool. What is happening to me?" the woman screamed, clutching her arms as if something inside her burned. The elders rushed forward, their charms clinking and staffs tapping the earth. The oldest among them, Adaeze, raised his hand. "Be still, woman. Speak the truth before the gods strike." The stepmother fell to her knees, trembling. Her voice cracked as she spoke. I only wanted what was mine, the land, the wealth your father left. She was always the favorite." She spat, glaring at Adaeze. "So I sought help from the dark river priestess to make Adaeze vanish." A shocked murmur ran through the crowd. Adaeze's eyes narrowed. "You used forbidden charms?" Before she could answer, a sudden gust of wind roared through the village. The fire torches flickered violently. The shadow beneath the stepmother tore free from her feet and stood upright, shaped like a woman, but with hollow eyes. Children screamed. The shadow turned its empty gaze toward the forest, then ran into the darkness, vanishing into the night. The stepmother collapsed to the ground, unconscious. Adaeze looked at Adaeze with solemn eyes. "Child, the spirit of the stream marked you for a reason. Darkness tried to destroy you, but the moon itself has spoken." Adaeze's lips trembled. Elder, what will happen to her now?" He sighed deeply. "When the red moon rises again, her fate will follow her." What punishment awaits the wicked stepmother when the red moon returns?
3 nights passed, and the red moon did not rise again. But the village was restless. They whispered that Adaeze, the spirit stream, had judged the wicked and spared the innocent. Adaeze's stepmother, Nena, awoke on the 4th day, pale, weak, and haunted. Her once fiery eyes now darted like a frightened bird's. Every night she screamed in her sleep, shouting the same words. "She's coming! She's coming from the water!" The villagers grew fearful. None dared go near her hut after sunset. Even the dogs barked whenever the wind blew past her window. Adaeze stayed silent. She pitied her stepmother, yet deep inside she felt something heavy, a sorrow that had no name. One evening, as she returned from the farm, she heard Nena crying behind the hut. Adaeze stopped. "Stepmother?" she called softly. No answer, only sobbing. She walked closer, but froze when she saw it. Nena was staring at a pool of water on the ground, whispering. "Please forgive me," Nena muttered, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean to wake you. I didn't mean to send the girl to your stream." Adaeze's heart pounded. Who was she talking to? Suddenly, the pool rippled, though no wind blew. A faint light shimmered from within. Nena gasped and fell backward. "No, please, spare me!" Adaeze dropped her bundle of firewood and ran toward her, but as she reached her stepmother, the woman was gone. Only her wrapper remained on the ground, soaked and cold. The pool of water glowed once more, then faded into dust. Has Nena been taken by the spirit of the stream, or something even darker?
By morning, the news had spread like wildfire. Nena had vanished. No footprints, no screams, no trace. Only her wrapper and a faint scent of river water remained behind the hut. The villagers gathered, murmuring in fear. Some said the spirit of Adaeze had claimed what was hers. Others whispered that Nena had turned into a shadow and fled into the forest. Elder Ezioma arrived, leaning on his staff, his gray eyes sharp and sad. He studied the spot where the wrapper lay, then turned to Adaeze. "Child, did you see her last?" Adaeze nodded faintly. "She was talking to someone, or something, in that puddle. Then she was gone." The old man sighed deeply. The river spirits do not take without reason. What is done in darkness, the water will cleanse. That night, Adaeze could not sleep. Every rustle outside made her heart jump. She sat by her window, staring at the distant stream that shimmered faintly beneath the moon. Suddenly she heard a faint voice, soft, broken. "Adaeze! Adaeze!" She stood quickly. The voice was coming from the direction of the river. Her hands trembled. Could it be her stepmother? Or was it something wearing her voice? She grabbed her lamp, took a deep breath, and stepped into the night once more. The forest was quieter than before, as if holding its breath. The moon hung low, silver and watchful. The path to Adaeze glowed faintly, just as it had that fateful night. As Adaeze reached the riverbank, the water rippled. Slowly, a hand emerged, pale and shaking. "Help me," a voice whispered. It was Nanana's voice, but when Adaeze looked closer, her blood turned cold. The hand was not human. What exactly crawled out of the glowing river? Her stepmother? Or her spirit returned for vengeance?
The hand that rose from the water was thin, twisted, and pale as moonlight. Adaeze froze where she stood, her lamp trembling in her grasp. The fingers stretched toward her, dripping with shimmering water that glowed faintly blue. "Adaeze, please, help me." The voice was Nena's, but hollow, like it came from the bottom of a deep well. Adaeze's heart pounded. "Stepmother?" she whispered. The figure began to rise. Slowly, painfully, the water parted, revealing a face, Nena's face, yet not as it once was. Her eyes were blank, her skin gleamed wet and pale, and her hair hung like seaweed. "You left me there," the voice croaked. "They wouldn't let me rest. They said I must make it right." Adaeze stumbled back. "I don't understand." "You must come," Nena said, her arm reaching further. "The water wants what was promised. It's calling for you too." The air turned cold. The river began to swirl, pulling at Adaeze's feet. Her lamp flickered violently. "No!" she cried, gripping a tree trunk. But the voice grew louder, more desperate. "Come, Adaeze, the river remembers." Then a blinding flash of light. Adaeze covered her face. When she looked again, the figure was gone. The river was calm once more. Her chest heaved. She turned to run home, but found someone standing on the path. A tall woman, wrapped in white cloth, eyes glowing faintly gold. It was Mummy Nwanyi. "Child, you cannot run from destiny. The water has chosen you." Adaeze swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. "Chosen for what?" The spirit's eyes glimmered. "To restore what your bloodline has broken." What secret curse hides in Adaeze's bloodline, and what must she do to break it?
Adaeze's knees weakened as she faced the spirit. The forest glowed faintly around them, as though the trees themselves were listening. "My bloodline?" she whispered. "What have we done?" Mummy Nwanyi's golden eyes softened, filled with an ancient sadness. "Long before your birth, your ancestors made a vow to the river, a promise of loyalty and purity. But greed broke it. Since then, the river takes one soul from every generation to cleanse the debt." Adaeze's throat went dry. "And now it's my turn?" The spirit nodded slowly. "Unless the chain is broken, you carry the mark, the same mark that glows on your forehead when the moon turns red." Adaeze's trembling fingers touched her forehead. It burned faintly beneath her skin, as if the mark had been waiting for this moment. "How can I break it?" she pleaded. "When the red moon rises again," she said, "you must return to the stream with a heart free of hatred. Only then will the water choose to cleanse or consume." Adaeze's heart sank. "And if I fail?" The spirit's voice grew heavy, echoing through the trees. "Then your soul becomes part of the river forever, just like your stepmother." The word struck Adaeze like thunder. She fell to her knees, her tears mixing with the soil. Mummy Nwanyi reached out gently. "Do not fear, child of the stream. The spirits test only the brave." As she spoke, the first rooster crowed in the distance. Dawn was breaking. The spirit began to fade, her form turning to mist. "Prepare yourself, Adaeze. The red moon comes sooner than you think." Then silence. The forest went still again, and from the river edge something shimmered, a silver bracelet floating on the water. Adaeze picked it up. It was warm, and engraved on it was her mother's name. What connection did Adaeze's late mother have to the curse of the river?
Adaeze held the silver bracelet close, her heart racing. Her mother's name, Obianjunya, was carved beautifully into the metal, now glowing faintly in the early morning light. But how could her mother's name be tied to the river's curse? She hurried home, her mind spinning. When she entered their hut, her mother was sitting up for the first time in weeks, her weak eyes fixed on the door, as if she had been waiting. "Where have you been, my child?" Obianjunya's voice trembled. Adaeze knelt beside her. "Mother, the spirit of the stream came to me. She said our family made a vow to the river long ago. What does it mean, and why is your name on this bracelet?" Her mother's face went pale, her lips quivered. She took the bracelet with trembling fingers.
I had hoped you would never know, she whispered. The fire crackled softly as she continued. Many years ago, before you were born, our lineage was blessed by the river goddess. The first daughter of every generation was chosen to serve the river, to guard its purity. But your grandmother broke the vow. She tried to use the river's power to bring wealth to our family. Since then, the goddess demanded a price. One daughter lost to the water in every age. Adaze's heart sank. Then you were supposed to go. Her mother nodded sadly. Yes, but when I gave birth to you, I prayed the spirits would spare me, for your sake. Perhaps they waited for you instead. Adaeze shook her head, tears welling. No, Mother, I won't let the river take anyone again. I'll end this curse. Her mother reached for her hand, gripping it weakly. To end it, you must face what began it, at the heart of the stream, under the red moon. Suddenly, thunder rumbled outside, though the skies were clear. Adaeze looked up, startled. The wind carried a whisper through the hut. The moon is rising soon. Will Adaeze defy the spirits or surrender to the destiny waiting beneath the red moon?
The air grew heavy as the sun sank beyond the hills. The village of Umuaka sat wrapped in uneasy silence. Even the crickets did not sing that night. Adaeze stood at the doorway of her hut, clutching the glowing bracelet. Her heart thudded against her ribs. She could already feel the pull, the strange, silent call of the river in her veins. From afar, the elders gathered near the shrine, murmuring prayers. The oldest among them, Elder Ezioma, raised his head toward the darkening sky. The moon will bleed tonight. The spirits are awake. By the time the first glimmer of red touched the horizon, the villagers had locked themselves indoors. Only Adaeze walked the lonely path toward Ekemeri. Her mother tried to rise, but her frail body failed her. Adaeze, my child, don't go. Adaeze turned, tears glistening on her cheeks. Mama, I must. The curse ends tonight, or it never will. She walked on, barefoot, her white wrapper fluttering in the cold wind. The forest watched her. Shadows shifted between trees, whispering her name. Adaeze, Adaeze. Her lamp burned brighter as she reached the water's edge. The river was still, smooth like glass, but it glowed red, reflecting the moon above. The bracelet on her wrist pulsed faintly. Suddenly, the ground beneath her trembled. From the center of the stream, ripples spread outward, and then a shape began to rise. It was her stepmother, Nenna, her face pale, eyes dark, body half water, half woman. You came, Nenna said softly, her voice echoing with sorrow. But you shouldn't have. Adaeze stepped back, fear gripping her chest. Why are you here? Nenna raised her hand toward the moon. Because the river does not just take, it remembers. The water behind her began to swirl, forming another shape, larger, glowing white. It was Mami Nwanyi, the spirit of the stream, rising again. Will Mami Nwanyi save Adaeze, or claim her as the river's final offering?
The red moon glared down on Ekemeri, casting ghostly light over the riverbank. Adaeze stood trembling between two forces, her stepmother's shadowed figure on one side and the radiant Mami Nwanyi on the other. The spirit's presence filled the air, her voice rose like wind and water joined in a song of power. The river remembers its promise, she declared, her golden eyes piercing the darkness. Blood broke the vow, and blood must cleanse it. Adaeze fell to her knees. Please, don't take my life. I came to end this curse, not to feed it.
Mominwanyi's gaze softened slightly. "Then speak truth, child. Have you no hatred in your heart? Have you forgiven the one who cast you into darkness?" Adaeze turned to Nenena, who stood motionless, her watery form trembling. Memories rushed back, the insults, the hunger, the cold nights she had suffered under her cruelty. Rage burned deep within her chest, but behind it lay sorrow. She lowered her head. "Yes, I forgive her." The river stirred, whispering as if listening. Forgiveness is a light, but it must be pure. Adaeze hesitated, tears falling. "I forgive her, even if my heart still aches." The river began to glow brighter. Mominwanyi stepped forward and raised her hand. The bracelet on Adaeze's wrist blazed like fire. "Then the river will judge." Nenena screamed as tendrils of glowing water wrapped around her. Her voice echoed through the trees. "No, I didn't mean to harm her. I only wanted peace." The spirit's voice thundered. "Peace cannot grow from envy." The water swallowed Nenena whole, and the surface stilled. Adaeze sobbed, clutching her chest. Then the spirit turned to her again. "The river is not yet done. The moon still thirsts." The ground beneath Adaeze cracked open, and from the water rose something shining and ancient, a mirror made of light. "Look within," Mominwanyi commanded. What truth will Adaeze see in the mirror of the river, and will she survive what it reveals?
The mirror hovered above the glowing water, its surface rippling like liquid glass. Adaeze stared, her reflection shifting in strange, haunting ways. She could see herself, but not as she was. In the mirror, her eyes glowed gold like the spirit's, and her body shimmered faintly, half human, half light. "What is this?" she whispered. Mominwanyi's voice rolled like thunder wrapped in calm. "This is the truth hidden from your eyes. The river shows who you are and who you were meant to be." The mirror brightened, and scenes began to form within it. Adaeze saw her ancestors, tall, noble figures, kneeling by the same stream, offering calabashes of clear water. The spirit of the stream smiled upon them, blessing their land. Then the vision changed. A woman who looked like her grandmother appeared, her eyes greedy with gold. She poured palm oil into the water, chanting forbidden words. The stream darkened, roaring in fury. "She betrayed the river," Mominwanyi said, sorrow in her tone, "and the bond was broken." Adaze's throat tightened. So the curse began because of greed? The vision shifted again. This time, Adaeze saw her mother, Obianju, young and frightened, standing before the same mirror. Behind her, the spirit wept. "She tried to restore the bond," said Mominwanyi, "but when she bore you, her strength failed. You are her answered prayer, the one born with the mark of both worlds." Adaze's heart raced. "Both worlds?" The spirit nodded. "The world of man and the realm of water. You are not here by chance, Adaeze. You were born to bridge them." The mirror pulsed with light. Adaeze felt warmth flood her body, power, ancient and heavy. But then the reflection darkened. Behind her image, something moved, a shadow with red eyes and long fingers stretching toward her reflection. "Beware," Mominwanyi warned. "Not all spirits wish to see peace restored." Adaeze gasped as the shadow reached from the mirror, grabbing her wrist. The world went black. Has Adaeze been pulled into the spirit realm or into the curse itself?
Darkness swallowed Adaeze whole. Her body felt weightless, her breath stolen by a cold that was neither air nor water. When her eyes opened again, she was standing on a vast plain of shimmering blue light. Waves of mist floated above the ground, and strange whispers filled the air, voices of the lost. She looked around, frightened. The sky was water, the ground was glass, and beneath it swam faces, hundreds of them, watching her silently. "Where am I?" she breathed. A voice answered from behind her. "You are in Midin So, the world beneath the river." Adaeze turned. Mummy Nyuanyi stood a few steps away, her white garments flowing like liquid silk. Around her, glowing fish floated in the air like stars. "You brought me here?" Adaeze asked. The spirit shook her head slowly. "No, child, the mirror pulled you. It has chosen to reveal what lies buried, not in water, but in your soul." Adaeze's heart thudded. "What do you mean?" Mummy Nyuanyi pointed toward the distance where a dark figure moved through the mist. It walked slowly, dragging chains that scraped the glass beneath its feet. "That is the shadow of your bloodline's sin. It feeds on fear, on pain, on every drop of hatred your family ever birthed." The figure's eyes glowed red, its mouth twisting into a cruel smile. "It knows you," the spirit said. "It knows your doubt, your grief, your anger." The shadow's chains began to rattle louder. Adaeze felt them echo inside her chest, pulling, calling. "You cannot run from it," Mummy Nyuanyi warned. "To end the curse, you must face it." Adaeze's voice trembled. "And if I lose?" The spirit's eyes dimmed. "Then you will join the river's lost souls, forever." The ground beneath Adaeze cracked. The shadow raised its arm. Chains shot forward like serpents, wrapping around her wrists. "The debt must be paid!" it roared. Adaeze screamed as the light faded around her. Will Adaeze find the strength to confront her family's darkness before it consumes her soul?
The chains burned like fire, searing Adaeze's wrists as she fell to her knees. The shadow loomed above her, a towering figure of smoke and hate. Its voice echoed like thunder trapped underwater. "You carry the blood of betrayal. Your father stole. Your mother wept. Your stepmother cursed. You, child of sorrow, must pay." Adaeze struggled, gasping as the chains tightened. Each word from the shadow sent visions flashing before her eyes. Her father arguing with the elders, her mother crying in the rain, her stepmother burning strange herbs at night. "No," she cried, shaking her head. "I am not their sins. I am not their curse." The spirit, Mummy Nyuanyi watched from a distance, her eyes calm yet sorrowful. "You cannot destroy what you deny, Adaeze. You must acknowledge it." Adaeze took a trembling breath. The shadow leaned close, its face inches from hers. She saw her own reflection within its red eyes, broken, scared, desperate. Slowly she whispered, "Yes, my family sinned. My father was greedy, my mother silent, my stepmother cruel. But I choose not to carry their darkness." The chains shuddered. The shadow snarled, pulling harder. "You cannot be free!" Adaeze lifted her head, voice rising like thunder. "I forgive them! I forgive myself!" A blinding light burst from her chest, shattering the chains like dry leaves. The shadow screamed, its form splitting into hundreds of birds that scattered into the glowing mist. The river beneath the glass began to ripple violently, waves of golden water rising around her. Mummy Nyuanyi approached, her face soft with pride. "You have done what many could not. You have faced the curse within." Adaeze's strength failed, and she collapsed, the light still pulsing around her body. The spirit knelt beside her and whispered, "Now, child of night, you must return, for the living still await your light."
The ground beneath Adaeze opened like a whirlpool. She felt herself falling again, swallowed by glowing water. When Adaeze awakens, will she find herself alive in the mortal world, or trapped between both realms forever?
Adaeze opened her eyes to a strange stillness. The air was neither warm nor cold. It hung heavy, like breath waiting to be released. Above her stretched a sky of twilight, where the sun and moon shone side by side. She was lying on soft grass that shimmered faintly, as though woven from starlight. Where am I?" she whispered. Her voice echoed back doubled, as if two versions of her were speaking at once, one from the world of the living, one from the realm of spirits. Then she saw them, two figures standing opposite each other in the field. One glowed softly, dressed in white. The other was faint, flickering like a dying flame. Adaeze gasped. They were herself. The bright Adaeze smiled sadly. "I am your spirit that has seen the truth." The flickering one whispered, "And I am your fear that refuses to let go." The two walked slowly toward her, each stretching out a hand. "You must choose," said the glowing one. "Return to life and carry your pain as wisdom." "Or," murmured the flickering shadow, "stay here where there is no sorrow, no struggle, no loss." Adaeze looked between them, tears in her eyes. The shadow's voice was tempting, peaceful, even kind. But then she remembered her mother's gentle eyes, her friend Nanaka's laughter, and the village that had once called her cursed. She clenched her fists. "I choose life, even with pain. I choose to live." The bright Adaeze smiled. The shadow screamed and dissolved into the wind. The field of twilight began to fade, replaced by the familiar sound of frogs croaking and wind rustling through trees. As she opened her eyes fully, she found herself lying beside the riverbank, dawnlight touching her face. Her calabash still sat beside her, full of clear, glowing water. And far off, she heard the faint, sorrowful cry of her stepmother echo through the forest. What happened to her stepmother after the curse was broken? And what new fate awaits Adaeze now that she has returned to life?
The sun was just climbing over the palm trees when Adaeze staggered to her feet. Her body ached, her clothes soaked with dew, but she was alive, truly alive. The river behind her shimmered faintly, then stilled as if bidding her farewell. As she began the long walk home, silence followed her. The birds didn't sing. Even the wind held its breath. Something in the air had changed, the kind of stillness that comes after spirits have walked the earth. When she reached the edge of the village, she noticed people gathered outside her compound, whispering in fear. Her stepmother's hut door was wide open. Old Mama Neka, the oldest woman in the village, saw Adaeze and gasped, "Child, you're alive! We thought the river had taken you." Adaeze said nothing. Her eyes moved past the crowd toward her home. Inside, her stepmother sat on the floor, hair scattered, eyes wide and unfocused. She was muttering to herself, rocking back and forth. "I told her to fetch water. I just wanted her gone. But the river spoke. It spoke my name." Adaeze's heart softened. She stepped closer. "Mama?" The woman froze. Slowly she looked up. "Adaeze, no, it cannot be you. You should be gone. You should be with them." "I was, but they sent me back." Adaeze screamed, clutching her head. Leave me be." The villagers gasped as the air around her shimmered. Her shadow began to twist on the floor, stretching like smoke. Then, in one final cry, the shadow tore itself away from her body and darted into the forest. The woman collapsed unconscious. The priest of the land stepped forward, trembling. "The curse! It has not died. It only moved." Adaeze looked toward the forest where the wind howled like mourning spirits. She knew it wasn't over yet. Will Adaeze confront the wandering shadow before it brings new doom upon the village?
That night, the forest groaned like an angry beast. Winds swept through the trees, carrying a strange humming sound that made the villagers hide indoors and bolt their doors. But Adaeze did not hide. She sat by the dying fire outside her hut, watching the flames bend toward the forest, as though something unseen was calling them. From the darkness, a voice drifted on the wind. "You broke the chains, but the curse still breathes." Adaze's heart pounded. She rose slowly, gripping her calabash filled with glowing river water. "Show yourself!" she called into the night. The wind grew colder. The trees bent backward, and from the shadows between them it emerged, a tall, shifting form made of smoke and whispers. It had no face this time, only glowing eyes that floated like burning coals. "You think forgiveness ends pain?" it hissed. "Pain is eternal. It feeds. It remembers." Adaeze stepped closer, her fear melting into anger. "You are nothing but what we left behind. You live only because we let you." The shadow laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Then why does the village tremble? Why do they still whisper your name in fear?" Adaeze raised the calabash. The glowing water inside began to shimmer brighter, as if sensing the darkness before her. The spirit's laughter turned into a snarl. "That water cannot cleanse what was born from blood." She lifted it high, shouting, "This is not just water, it is truth!" She poured it onto the ground. The earth hissed, steam rising as golden light burst forth. The shadow screamed, twisting violently, but instead of fading, it split, forming 3 smaller figures darting into different directions of the forest. Adaeze fell to her knees, shaking. The light dimmed. The priest, who had followed her quietly, gasped from behind a tree. "You have broken it into pieces. Now the curse has many faces." Adaeze looked up at the forest, her voice trembling. "Then I will face them all."
The night stretched long and restless. Adaeze stood at the edge of the forest, her lamp flickering weakly. The priest's words still echoed in her mind. "The curse now has many faces." Somewhere among the trees, the 3 fragments of the shadow roamed free, each carrying a piece of hatred, envy, and regret. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. The forest welcomed her with whispers. Every branch seemed alive, every shadow watching. The first fragment revealed itself near the old yam field. A figure with her stepmother's face twisted in sorrow. "Adaeze," it wept, "I only wanted your father's love. I was never enough." Adaeze's heart ached. "You are not her. You are her guilt, and guilt cannot heal love." She poured a drop of the river water onto the soil. The shadow dissolved into mist. The second fragment waited near the ancient shrine, her father's image clutching gold in his hands, his eyes empty. "I sought wealth for you, my daughter, but greed blinded me." Adaeze bowed her head. "You cannot undo what is done. Only truth can free you." She sprinkled more water, and the shadow faded, whispering her name like wind through bamboo. Then came the final shadow, her own reflection standing beneath the sacred tree. You say you forgive, but your heart still carries pain. Adaeze froze. She could not speak. The shadow stepped closer. You pity them, but do you love them? You survived, but do you live? Tears streamed down her face. I don't know how to love those who tried to destroy me. The shadow smiled faintly. Then learn. It reached out and touched her chest. Light burst forth, pure, warm, endless. The forest filled with glowing dust, the air sweet and calm. For the first time, the wind carried no whispers, only peace. Adaeze sank to her knees, sobbing with relief. The curse had ended, or so she thought. What lesson will Adaeze learn when the spirits return one last time? Not to curse her, but to crown her destiny.
Dawn crept gently over the village, painting the sky in strokes of gold and rose. For the first time in many moons, peace hung in the air like a sweet fragrance. The cries of spirits had fallen silent, and the forest no longer whispered her name. Adaeze walked slowly back toward the village, her calabash now empty but glowing faintly, a vessel that had once carried truth. The people watched her from their doorways, eyes wide, mouths trembling. None dared speak until the old priest stepped forward. "The curse has ended," he said softly, "and with it the fear that bound this land." The villagers bowed. Adaeze's eyes found her stepmother kneeling in the dust, weak but alive. Her eyes were full of shame. "Child," the woman whispered, "I have no words to wash away my sins." Adaeze knelt and lifted her gently. "No one is beyond forgiveness. Let this day mark the beginning of peace, not sorrow." The crowd murmured in awe. Suddenly, a soft wind swept through the village, carrying the faint sound of water flowing. From the horizon, mist rose, forming the graceful figure of Mame Nwanyi. Her voice was calm, powerful, ancient. "Adaeze, daughter of courage, you faced darkness and brought light where none dared. From this day you shall be known as the daughter of the night stream. Wherever pain dwells, your name will heal." The spirit touched Adaeze's forehead with a glowing hand, and the mark of the moon appeared, a faint silver circle that shimmered like ripples on calm water. As the spirit faded, the villagers knelt in reverence. The air felt lighter, as though generations of sorrow had lifted. Years later, tales of Adaeze's strength spread across distant lands. She became a healer, a storyteller, and a keeper of truth, reminding all who listened that no curse is stronger than a heart that forgives. And when the full moon glowed bright over the sacred river, its waters shimmered once more, whispering her name softly into the wind. Light will always find the innocent, even in the darkest night.
Thanks for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, turn on post notification to get more exciting stories from us.